Welcome back to the Continuous Improvement Lab, Season 2, Episode 18. We're really excited you're joining us again for another deep dive. We're looking into management, operations, systems, elements, all, designed to really sharpen your team's performance. And hey, a huge shout out to our listeners now in 20 countries. That's fantastic. Our goal, maybe a bit ambitious, is 25 countries by the end of 2025. So if you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe or follow button. It really helps us get there. Oh, and just a note, this deep dive, it fits perfectly with the insights in the business playbook Shift Happens, how to lead with purpose and discipline every day. Okay, so today we're tackling something that, honestly, it might sound a bit backward in our data-heavy world. The topic is prioritize data integrity over volume. You all kind of think more data is better, right? More insights, more power. But what if that's actually holding your teams back, creating friction?
It's a really interesting paradox, isn't it? It happens so often. Organizations are just drowning in data, but they're not actually benefiting from it. Our sources show this flood of low-quality info isn't just inefficient. It's like actively dragging things down, pulling focus away from real problems. So this deep dive, we're going to unpack exactly why focusing on the quality, the actionability of your data, why that's so much more important than just, the sheer quantity. It can be a total game changer for making decisions, for productivity, for the bottom line, really. We'll look at what it means on the ground, why it matters so much right now, and how it's playing out in all sorts of different industries.
Okay, let's really dig into that core idea then. Prioritize data integrity over volume. It sounds simple enough, but if it's that simple, why do so many companies struggle with it? What are we really talking about here beyond just saying accurate data is good?
Yeah, that's the key question, isn't it? It sounds simple, but putting it into practice, that's where the impact is. The core idea is just that more data isn't automatically better data. Sometimes, actually, it's much worse. The real focus needs to be on gathering information that's 1, accurate, 2, genuinely real-time, and 3, crucially, actionable. I mean, think about it. If your team is working with high-quality, trustworthy information, well, they can make decisions confidently, right?
Yeah.
Instantly. And maybe even more critical, it stops all that wasted effort, fixing the wrong things because the data misled you or, chasing ghosts in the number. It's all about precision, not just piling up numbers, making sure every data point has a purpose, and you can absolutely trust it. That lets you respond effectively immediately. The struggle, often it's just inertia, that collect everything mindset, and the upfront work needed to clean things up and validate.
Right. So it's not just what you have, it's what you can do with it and how much you trust it. Okay, I get the theory. But to really see it in action, we've got a great case study. It really illustrates the principle. Let's talk about precision core manufacturing. They make precision machine parts, right, for the auto industry, which is pretty demanding. What was their situation? How was data volume causing problems for them?
Precision core, yeah, they were a textbook case.
Yeah.
Stuck in that informational quicksand we talked about. Their management operating system, their MOS, basically the framework they use for tracking daily performance, it was collecting just tons of data. I mean, dozens and dozens of metrics: quality, machine performance, labor efficiency, everything.
Yeah.
Sounds good, right? Robust.
So comprehensive, yeah.
But the reality, discrepancies everywhere, inconsistent shift reports, incomplete downtime logs, just no coherence. And this massive volume of low-quality, unreliable data, it just created chaos in their daily huddles, their weekly reviews.
Oh, I can picture that.
Yeah, imagine meetings turning into these forensic exercises, just trying to figure out whose report was, least wrong.
Instead of solving problems.
Exactly, instead of tackling actual operational issues. So leadership saw pretty quickly this wasn't just annoying, it was fundamentally blocking improvement. They realized prioritizing accurate, actionable data was, absolutely essential to get their teams unstuck and boost performance.
So drowning in numbers, but starved for real insight. Okay, that's a huge challenge. How did they turn it around? What did prioritizing data integrity actually look like for them, day to day, practically speaking?
Well, they put a pretty comprehensive strategy in place. Discipline was key, which it often is. First, they really streamlined how they collected data. Dramatically. They stopped just collecting everything possible and actively cut out the non-essential metrics. Ruthlessly focused on high-value indicators.
Like what specifically?
Things like real-time plan versus actual output. Super clear measure of performance against target. They also prioritized first-pass yield, how many parts were perfect first time, no rework needed, and detailed downtime, broken down by the actual cause. Very specific stuff.
Okay, so focused metrics. What else?
Then, a really big emphasis on validation at the source. Supervisors got trained properly to validate data right as it was being collected, like a first line of defense against errors.
Makes sense.
And, crucially, the frontline operators. They're given simple, easy-to-use tools to capture performance info accurately, right there during their shifts. So the data was fresh, reliable from the start. And then, to really lock in accuracy and kill manual entry errors, they integrated automated data feeds straight from key production equipment.
Ah, automation. Less human error.
Exactly. Ensured real-time precision.
So, leaner data, deeper insights. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. All that work, the strategic shift, the cultural change, did it actually work?
Yeah.
Or did Precision Core just end up with, less bad data? What were the tangible results? What did they gain?
The payoff was, honestly, remarkably quick and significant, which is always great to see in operations, right?
Definitely.
Within just 2 months, they cut data discrepancies by 30%. 30.
Wow.
And that immediate improvement meant teams could make decisions faster and with way more confidence in those daily MOS meetings. Think about that impact. No more arguing about the numbers, just acting on them.
Huge difference.
Yeah. And with reliable, accurate info, supervisors could finally pinpoint and fix the root causes of downtime and defects effectively. That led directly to a tangible 12% jump in production throughput.
12%.
And a 10% cut in scrap. Plus, all that improved clarity. It drastically cut down time wasted on admin tasks, rework, all that frustrating stuff. It basically freed up their teams to focus on actual value-added work on the floor. A total shift in operational energy.
Those numbers really do speak for themselves. That's impressive. But, numbers aren't the whole story. What about the people, the culture at Precision Core? How did this change things like team trust, accountability? Did operators feel more involved or just more watched?
Oh, it had a huge and overwhelmingly positive effect on the culture. Really profound. That renewed focus on accuracy. It genuinely strengthened trust and accountability right across the board.
How so?
Well, operators felt more engaged, more invested. They knew their input was accurate now, and it was actually driving real-time actions and improvements. Imagine being an operator, seeing your accurate data instantly lead to fixing a problem you pointed out. That builds massive buy-in.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the supervisors. They gained massive confidence in the reports they were using. That's critical for good leadership, for delegating effectively. So by making that strategic shift, prioritizing integrity over just volume, Precision Core really built this solid foundation for smarter, faster problem solving, for continuous improvement throughout the whole plant. It stopped being about blame, it became collaborative, informed problem solving.
What a transformation for them. It really makes you wonder, though, is Precision Core just a one-off success story, an outlier? Or is this quality over volume idea something we're seeing more broadly? Is it a real trend across industries?
Looking at the bigger picture, yeah, it's definitely an industry-wide shift, no question. Leaders across manufacturing, warehousing, supply chain, they're increasingly pivoting to data integrity. Why? Because it directly improves operational decisions. For example, there's a study, I think, from the Lean Enterprise Institute. It highlights organizations focusing on high-quality, real-time data. They see about a 23% drop in corrective actions that were purely linked to bad reporting.
23% less fixing mistakes caused by bad data.
Exactly. So in these fast-moving production logistics environments, teams are actively ditching those overwhelming dashboard stuff with too many metrics. Instead, they're focusing, collecting fewer, but much more actionable data points. This just ensures problem solving is based on solid ground, reliable info. It cuts waste, improves responsiveness, critical in today's supply chains.
Makes total sense for operations. But what about other fields? Does this hold true outside the factory or warehouse, like, say, engineering, scientific research, medicine? Precision matters there too, but the data's different.
Absolutely. It's not just applicable. In those fields, data accuracy is, well, it's mission critical. It's non-negotiable. Think about this. A Deloitte report showed engineering teams that prioritize validated, accurate data. They cut project rework by 15%.
15% less rework. That's huge in engineering.
And they improve cross-functional collaboration by 12%. Compare that to teams just drowning in incomplete or conflicting data sets, leads to delays, costly mistakes, and in clinical settings, scientific labs. A focus on high-integrity data has shown it can cut trial or lab errors by as much as 18%.
18% fewer errors in trials or labs. The implications are enormous.
Right. A wrong diagnosis, a flawed product design, a scientific finding based on bad data. These sectors really highlight this growing leadership insight. Embed data integrity into your daily workflows. Don't just treat it as an afterthought. When you do that, Teams make faster, genuinely evidence-based decisions while crucially maintaining compliance and quality standards. You have to in those fields.
So the impact really does seem cross-functional. What about fields that might seem less technical? Marketing, customer service, education even. Are they also rethinking their data strategies? What are the hidden costs of bad data there?
You're spot on. The principle holds true there too, even if the data feels softer. Take marketing. A recent McKinsey report found teams that streamlined reporting focused on validated KPIs like conversion rates, customer acquisition costs. They saw a 17% improvement in campaign ROI.
17% better ROI just by focusing the data.
Yeah, they stopped tracking everything under the sun and zeroed in on what actually moved the needle. Similarly, service organizations, educational institutions, when they cut the data overload and prioritize clean, accurate reporting, they see faster decisions, better stakeholder trust, the hidden costs of bad data there. Oh, it's wasted marketing dollars, targeting the wrong customers, misallocating school resources, just eroding trust generally. Leaders in these areas increasingly get it. Clean, trustworthy data builds confidence. It improves communication. And it stops teams wasting time on efforts that are just misdirected because the underlying info is shaky.
Okay, this paints a really clear, compelling picture. So boiling it all down, what does this mean for organizations everywhere? Factory floor, research lab, marketing team. What are the key takeaways for any leader, any team that feels like they might be struggling with their data?
Well, industry-wide, there's this definite shift, undeniable, away from that old more data is always better mindset. Whether it's a plant, an engineering office, a customer service center, leadership is increasingly pushing for leaner data ecosystems, ones where accuracy, timeliness, and actionability matter way more than just raw volume. And this trend, it aligns perfectly with established philosophies like Lean and Six Sigma, right? Focus on the right data to eliminate waste, cut variability, drive continuous improvement. So by truly prioritizing data integrity, organizations are giving their teams the tools for faster, more confident decisions. And that directly leads to better productivity, better quality, and ultimately long-term success. The biggest hurdle we often see, lack of clear ownership for data quality, or just an unwillingness to prune those old, unhelpful metrics people are used to. It's got to be an ongoing process, not a one-and-done fix.
This has been incredibly insightful, really valuable stuff. So for you, the listener, as you think about your own teams, the data you rely on every day, maybe consider this. In an age where collecting data is easier than ever, is your organization truly using that data to drive results? Or are you maybe just collecting it? Are you building a foundation of trust with your data, or maybe a tower of uncertainty?
Yeah, and that raises a really important question. What hidden inefficiencies, what missed opportunities, maybe what lingering frustrations are your teams grappling with? Not because they lack data, but because they lack fundamental trust in the data they already have. Sometimes, it's not about finding more data, it's about refining what's already there, making it trustworthy.
Well said. That's it for this deep dive on prioritizing data integrity over volume. We really hope this exploration has sparked some ideas, given you some valuable, actionable insights for your own teams, how to improve performance, build that trust in your numbers.
And if you'd like more information, feel free to reach out via our website. It's www.karaswisher.com.
And a huge thank you, as always, goes to our executive producer and founder, Lanier Johnson. He makes these deep dives possible. We definitely look forward to exploring more management operation systems with you next time, right here on the Continuous Improvement Lab. And please don't forget to subscribe or follow, and maybe share this deep dive with someone you know who could use it, maybe someone who's drowning in data right now.